Hey, you guys. Okay, I am back, and I am sorry. This is going to be part 3 and probably the wrap up of this particular conversation. I know my videos can be kind of random and scattered, but I'm doing the best I can. Okay. What I'm talking about is part 3. I was discussing Selena Quintanilla and Yolanda Saldivar in part 1 and 2. I know part 2 was kind of weird and random. I had just picked up my lunch and just in the mood to share what all was going on with that. And then I wanted to finish up because part 1 had cut off. Part 2 also cut off. I don't have a lot of storage on my phone. I am sorry. I hate it when it kind of cuts off, but I get everything that I can get out. And this is going to be the conclusion. But yeah, so again, I'm doing another deep dive on Selena. If you've listened to the first or second videos that I put out on this, then you kind of know where I'm at and what I've been talking about. But when the second part cut off, I was telling you guys, okay, so here lately I've been doing another deep dive into Selena. I've been a fan of her music for up around 25 years. Absolutely love her, the music, the inspiration of her, everything she was about. I love the culture. There's something about Mexican and Spanish culture that's always been very dear to me since I was a little girl. Okay. And so I was talking about just the energy surrounding Selena, and I was getting into talking about Sloan Bella and her energy reading on Selena. Okay. It's on her page. And the things that she talks about in that reading, they all make a lot of sense, okay? How this has carried over from several different lifetimes, things that Selena needed to complete. And that dark energy has stalked her from lifetime to lifetime. And y'all, that's up to you, what you believe, what you feel. But I feel stuff like that in my life, sometimes on a daily basis. I believe very much that stuff like that is real. That's just me. But now I'm hearing, okay, that Saldivar, what secrets, okay? Now I'm hearing that Saldivar in some documentary is claiming that she has a bunch of secrets about Selena, and she's going to reveal those secrets. Okay, whoa, what the hell? This lunatic, these covert narcissistic type people, and it's hard for me because I'm such an empathic human and so compassionate, because everybody in my family, since my siblings and I were born onto this earth, little bitty children, have suffered and gone through all hell in our own different ways. Mental illness, anxiety disorders, abuse, and tragedy growing up in our home. And we've all had very difficult lives with very difficult things to overcome. So I know a lot about mental illness, childhood trauma, what it's like to struggle mentally and emotionally in life. I have had good friends with the same backgrounds, even been in relationships with people from those types of backgrounds. And I feel for those kind of people. I am one of those kind of people, okay? But here's the deal with that. You don't take that shit from your childhood and, just to put it in plain, simple terms, let it make you a fucking weirdo. It is what it is. You do not let what happened to you as a child, all of that wiring, and all of that trauma, and it is difficult. Statistically, people who go through certain types of trauma as children do not do very well. They oftentimes don't make it. Oftentimes they end up in prison, or even worse, dead, okay? Having really difficult lives, difficult relationships, difficult, dysfunctional wiring, dysfunctional programming. It can be very difficult for people coming from those types of backgrounds. And oftentimes, not only that, but they repeat the cycle. They re-abuse. That is where we get the term generational trauma. A lot of people try to sit up and they really think they're doing something, scoffing and poking fun at these terms. oh, what is that? Some spiritual hoodoo voodoo? What is generational trauma? You need to get in touch with God. There's no such thing as, I mean, I've literally seen people just, it's so ignorant to me. Generational trauma is exactly what it says. It's not a spiritual term. It is a thing that actually happens when trauma is handed down through the damn generations. When your great motherfucking grandpa or grandma abused your great motherfucking blah blah blah, and then they grew up and they abused, and then they grew up and they abused, and so on and so forth. That's what that is. Because back in the generations, therapy was not readily available. People weren't going to therapy. People weren't working on self-development. People weren't working on, why am I wired this way? Why do I think this way? Why do I act this way? They weren't as self-aware. They weren't thinking about how they're treating their kids. Get your ass out there and milk the cow. Shit. Okay, get your ass out there and pull grass and get to the farming. And, you know, down through the generations, there were no child labor laws. Children were seen and not heard. So, for those people that want to sit out there, there's always some asswads out there in the world that are trolls. They don't do anything but take everything and spin it out of context and try to poke fun and scoff and twist everybody up at very logical, meaningful concepts and statements. Okay? I can't stand that stupid shit. So that's what that is. That is what generational trauma is. And a lot of people are carrying it around. A lot of people are carrying it around, and you know, and it's shocking. Here's how they go so undetected. It's because in this day and age, people can't even imagine. Okay? I am one of those people. I come from a history of generational trauma handed down through the generations, inflicted upon my father, probably inflicted upon his father and his parents, and on back. Okay? And so I ended up having to be the cycle breaker in my family. And I didn't think about it in those terms when I was a young girl or teenager. I was just naturally led to do it. I didn't know this terminology. I didn't have these really self-aware thoughts as I do now. But back then, I just knew my ass was running away from home. My ass was speaking the truth about what happened to me eventually. I didn't do it for a long number of years. I had to keep a lot of secrets and carry a lot of burden. But eventually, I wound up in court. I wound up having to bust the whole situation wide open. My father ended up going to prison because of this, you know, and I just ran constantly running from the whole situation. So on a soul level, I was doing what I was supposed to do. You know, the contract of breaking the fucking cycle, breaking the generational curse. Okay, of course, I was scapegoated. I was manipulated. I had people say weird shit to me. All this fucking happened, man. All right. And luckily, though, I was born in an era really right on the cusp of it. Even back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. You know, we were Gen X, man. We were that generation that's still thrown out in the dirt, and, you know, the latchkey kids and fucking, you know, just all kinds of shit going down. Parents with beer cans, driving around with beer cans all over the dash, and no child car seats, and parents using their arm to hold you in, and that's nothing. The shit I saw as a child in a dysfunctional and abusive family, okay, just crazy. Anyway, to get back on target here, so yeah, generational trauma is handed down like that, and 9 times out of 10, people like Yolanda Saldivar and even Chris Watts, you know, the Watts murder case, what he did to his beautiful wife Shanann and his beautiful little girls. Watts and Saldivar remind me of each other energetically. That passive-aggressive, weird, it's just hard to even put words to, okay, those two. They're all in their head, and their self-esteem doesn't, you know, match up. It doesn't add up. Their confidence level, and they literally hate and resent other people for it, okay? But yet they pretend, you know, and they get everybody on the side, on their side. They get everybody supporting them and thinking that they're just being so mistreated by their wife, like in Watt's case, or so mistreated. They're just nice people who want to fit in and they want to be loved, and they're fucking weirdos, okay? They've got a part of the brain that is deranged, that is not developed all the way from childhood trauma or otherwise, that has never been healed, never been dealt with. And see, that's what I'm saying. It's hard. And here's how they slip by more easily in this life, because nowadays we have got so much access to therapy and mental health and self-aware. Everybody's so aware now, and you know, everybody's so conscious of things and watching out for things, and people report things, and you know, it's just a different world now, okay? And it's like the way we've all evolved our consciousness, and luckily I got to overcome a lot of those thinking patterns as well, because I was court ordered into therapy. Did I necessarily want to go as a kid? Hell no. I wanted to run the streets, but I did go. And I continued going as an adult. And I was always like very interested in healing. But here's the thing, even though we can't imagine it, some people are still living that way. Like almost barbaric. Like they didn't get any help. They didn't get a therapist. Nobody asked them any questions. Nobody came to their rescue. Oftentimes, a lot of people have gone through severe trauma from hell. Bad things happening to them as kids and never told a soul. Stuffed it inside, never told a damn person, never gotten to talk about it, never gotten to process those fucking feelings, and it fucked up their head. Somewhere, some way in their life, there is a glitch within them, okay? Without being able to process those feelings, get them all out on the table, rewire that stuff, they may function perfectly normally. They may look, you know, in all areas, but 9 times out of 10 with people like that have never had any therapy, never had any help, and they went through stuff like that as children, 9 times out of 10, there is a glitch somewhere within them. And all it takes is something to trigger that off. Something to trigger that off, and all of a sudden that obsession begins, like we saw with Yolanda Saldivar, an obsession that can't be stopped. And so, yeah. So, for people that don't believe in generational trauma and what's that term, that's what it is. So, anyway, so yeah, in the last video, I was talking about Selena and her time here on Earth, how much she accomplished in that short time. And now we have, you know, and then it was ripped right out from under her. I was talking to you guys about what Sloan Bella has said and talked about in the energy reading of Selena. And now we have Yolanda Saldivar talking about she's got secrets of Selena's that she's going to expose. Look, it's too late, Saldivar. Okay? It's way too late. It's been too late. Nobody gives a fuck. How about that shit? Nobody gives a fuck what you have to say. And furthermore, what secrets? You know, all people like Yolanda Saldivar and Chris Watts too, similar types of people, covert, narcissistic, desperate for attention, desperate to pawn all of the blame off on everybody else, desperate to be the victim at all times. And I can't even describe, because I've been around these kind of people and I've had it done to me. I can't even describe the level of envy. Envy. It's not even really hatred. It's just this envy and dislike that they have for you. They will be your best friend. They could be your husband. They could be your wife. They could be somebody very close to you. I've had this happen to me with certain people that I loved with all of my heart and soul, would do anything for. And come to find out, there was some deranged glitch in their brain, okay, that they aren't thinking like we do. They aren't processing rationally, okay? They might seem to on the surface. That's how they get by with this shit, though, a lot of times these days, because we live in such what we think is a now more enlightened world, more conscious world, the collective consciousness. We are so much more aware of things nowadays, but these people slip by because most people in society these days can't even imagine. I can't imagine, someone thinking that way. Someone walking around with all that deranged, twisted, chaotic trauma in their brain and not going to therapy or not, reaching out. And, people can't even imagine that shit like that has gone on if they haven't experienced it themselves. It's really hard for them to imagine. It just is. It's just a human thing. There's a lot of shit that if I hadn't gone through it, I'd probably have a hard time imagining it, but I'm such an empath at the same time that I do. I can, put myself in the shoes of what that would be like. I can at least do that. Whereas some people just blow it right off. Anyway, so y'all get what I'm saying. Those types of people, God, there aren't even words to convey. But they do. They envy you almost like a little small child on the playground who wants to play in your group. And it's what it reminds me of. And they don't really know how to say it. They don't really know how to go about expressing feelings. They're really awkward about the way they go about it. And because of this awkwardness within them, and because of this growing up not feeling good about themselves and all the things that have happened to them, and I'm sorry about that. I feel like I can say these kind of goddamn things because that's the way I grew up, okay? Except I had to do something different with it. But because of their own awkwardness, because of their own lack of confidence, because of their own failure to pursue things that they love to do and their gifts and their talents and their God-given blessings, because they don't have the confidence to. And it all stems back to something, yes, that we would probably feel quite bad about and sorry for, but tough shit. That's no reason for you to grow up and fucking become a hater and do these heinous crimes. But that's what their mentality's like. It's almost like some, kid that, because of their own awkwardness and then mind you, this is a grown-ass adult though. I'm talking about adults who regress back into some childlike state. That's kind of what they're like. That's what Saldivar, Yolanda Saldivar and Chris Watts make me think of, and the people that I've been very close to that acted this way. They might have been 30 at the time, 40, whatever. But they regress back to a childlike state, someplace in their early life. And it's like some kid that's like, because of their own awkwardness, their own lack of confidence, and you're thinking you could go out and do any motherfucking thing you wanted to do with your life. Pursue your gifts. Find your talent. Comb your hair. Love your goddamn self. Get off me. Stop trying to steal and suck my light. Stop sighing. Stop every time I say something good. Every time I do something powerful. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Y'all don't even know, okay, what it's like to be around an energy like that, and you didn't know it at first. And that's exactly what happened to Selena and her family, okay? And by the time they realized it was too late. Just like with the Watts scenario, And so, secrets my ass. Nobody cares. All that is, again, with covert narcissistic people, they've got to find a way to have the upper hand. Somehow, some way to control the narrative. Okay? No matter what. They don't care. Yolanda has never expressed an ounce of remorse to that family. All the fuck she's thinking about is getting out of prison. That's all the hell she can talk about is getting a new trial and, trying to get some kind of notoriety or money or something by writing books or doing interviews or whatever. She should not be able to profit from her crime. And no, Yolanda, just like Chris Watts, you made your fucking choice. You were a hater. You were a jealous, resentful, snake-like creature who obsessed and obsessed over Selena, wanted to be her, wanted to use her. You didn't really care about her. You didn't really care about her family. You didn't really care about how beautiful this young girl was and her beautiful talents and success and encouraging her. You were older than her, encouraging her, really being there for her, really being a trusted confidant and family friend. Probably would have been in their life forever. You would have been Selena's family. Selena loved you like family. She trusted you like family. But see, that's another thing. Selena was so young that she was naive. And she always had the safety and sanctuary and protection of her family. She wasn't a street kid. She had never run the streets. She was not street smart. And hey, I'm glad that she had a somewhat good childhood. Okay, now there's a lot of people that say stuff about Abraham and the way he pushed the kids to practice and perform, but whatever. That's another day. But what I'm saying is, Selena didn't have street smarts, really. She was a loving, trusting, beautiful, open-hearted young woman. And fucking this Saldivar bitch took advantage of that, okay? Ate it right up. All of Selena's innocence and compassion and beauty and purity and light, But yeah, she probably would have been in Selena's family forever. It would have been a very long relationship, and she probably would have been considered family had she not been doing what she was doing. Had she not been doing what she was doing, she wasn't there to, I love you, Selena. I can send out the pictures for you and I can run your fan club. Let me take the load off you. Trust me. She was not there to help Selena. She was not there for her well-being. Okay? The whole time. She was a fucking snake embezzling the family's money. Okay? And sitting there in the mentality, I know how these kind of people think because I've lived with them. Okay? Sitting there the whole time thinking, they got all that fucking money. That should be mine. That fame should be mine. People should know my name. I'm going to take some of that money because they've got more than enough. I have every right. Selena has me do this and she has me do that. I'm telling y'all, that is how they think. I'm so glad that God is opening a way, opening the throat chakra, opening the channel for me, my voice, to finally get some of these things out again and more clearly. That is exactly how those kind of people think. Covert narcissistic, kind of deranged, kind of regressed into a childlike way of thinking and a very emotionally immature way of thinking, very resentful, hating you for shit that they did to you. It is fucking deranged. I've been very close to people like that. So yeah, they will. It's a classic example because some of the same shit happened to me. After Yolanda insisted on taking some of the load for Selena, she was hired to help Selena so that Selena wouldn't have to think of every little thing and whatnot and whatnot. The fan club president, okay, helped take that off and then put in charge of the boutique, okay, and some of the finances. That's not what she was doing, okay? She was trying to get clout off of Selena's energy and power, telling people what to do behind Selena's back, embezzling the money. And that's what they do. And the whole time in their mind thinking, I can't believe that bitch has me doing this and doing that. Like I'm her fucking servant. Like I'm her fucking foot scrubber or something. I gotta mail her letters. I gotta run her fucking boutique and sell clothes while she gets to fly here and go there and eat this and eat that, and everybody loves her, and she gets to do interviews and she gets to sing, and that's exactly what those kind of people think like. It's very irrational and it's very deranged. When they are the ones that offer to help you, that put themselves in the position to be of service to you. And they will have you thinking that they're okay with it, that they want to do these things. They don't. It isn't real. It isn't authentic. Chris Watts, I feel 100% was the same nature, the same personality type. Okay? And my partner had this same personality type as well. The one that I'm often talking about that passed away last year, that I loved very dearly and still do. But he had this similar personality type. So I know it inside out. I've been around it a long number of years. I know what goes on in their fucking mind. A lot of them. And so that's exactly an example of what that shit's about. Yep. The whole time. They will offer all these things to you. And then the entire time they're doing them, they are resenting you and angry with you, and even telling people behind your back, oh, she just controls me, and she's just so lazy, and she puts all this work on me. They set up every situation from something that happened in their childhood or some kind of fucking glitchy programming, right? They are a self-fulfilling prophecy. They set up the whole scenario to be victimized and then play the goddamn victim over and over. All right? And by offering you all these things, since they're such awkward people anyway, they're usually kind of awkward and lower confidence and lower self-esteem, and they just haven't worked through a lot of those types of issues and, realize their own confidence and their own light. So oftentimes the only reason they're offering you this kind of stuff, all of their services, and I can do this and I can do that, and I'm just your dream come true, whether it's romantic, whether it's a friend. The only reason they're offering you all that stuff is to get in your life and take control. That's it. And they're not going to take control in a way that everybody can see it. They're not going to take control in an overt way or an open way. No, it's going to be a very snake-like, passive-aggressive, manipulative way, okay? So that's why they offer all these things. It is a means of controlling. See, these people don't know a lot of this shit. They just don't know it unless they've lived it, unless they have seen it with their own eyes. Same damn thing that went on in the Watts case. I believe it is very, very similar. What Chris offered up and how he talked himself up and all the ways in which he reeled Shanann in which he snaked his way into her life. The services or the gentleman-like way and everything he offered and everything he was about. And then once he got in, same damn thing. Oh, she just controls and she just works me and she just won't let me do anything, and exact same fucking shit. And I believe he very much resented and envied. Envy. It's like a burning envy. They want to compete with you. They envy you. They want to fucking destroy you. They want to be you. It's the craziest thing ever. Okay. So anyway, I have got to go. I've just arrived somewhere. So I will continue this in a part 4 because there's a lot coming out. Sometimes I kind of have to start videos a little awkwardly, not knowing exactly which direction they're going to go, and then kind of let the flow, just let it channel through me and see what comes, okay? It's kind of like channeling in a way, kind of like spirit in a way, but at the same time, it's also me coming from a place of experience, things I've lived through and learned, and just passing along that knowledge. So I don't know. But anyway, I will finish up in a part 4. Okay, you guys? All right. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.